and welcome to the latest in historical fiction author chats. Today, it is my extreme privilege to introduce you to Elizabeth Macneal, who wrote Circus of Wonders. That's got to be one of my new favorites. I really, really love that book. So I'm looking forward to you reading to all these people and telling them a little bit about it because it's very unique. I really loved it. So I will read you Elizabeth's bio and then the synopsis, and then I will turn it over to you. So here we go. Born in Scotland, Elizabeth Macneal is a writer and potter based in London. The Doll Factory, Elizabeth's debut novel, was an international bestseller, has been translated into 29 languages, and has been optioned for a major television series that I am totally going to watch. It won the Caledonian Novel Award 2018. Circus of Wonders is her second novel, and really, it's just really unique. I like the whole idea of, well, we'll talk about this later, but the whole idea of writing about the old circuses and how the macabre light of it all, but you just had a beautiful take on it. So, all right.
Thank you.
So for the synopsis of Circle of Wonders, for fans of Erin Morgenstern's The Night Circus, Sara Gruen's Water for Elephants, and Diane Setterfield's Once Upon a River, an atmospheric and spectacular novel in which one woman's life is transformed by the arrival of a Victorian Circus of Wonders. Step up, step up. In 1860s England, circus mania is sweeping the nation. Crowds jostle for a glimpse of the lion-tamers, the dazzling trapeze artists, and most thrilling of all, the so-called human wonders. When Jasper Jupiter's Circus of Wonders pitches its tent in a poor coastal town, the life of one young girl changes forever. Sold to the ringmaster as a leopard girl because of the birthmarks that cover her body, Nell is utterly devastated. But as she grows close to the other performers, she finds herself enchanted by the glittering freedom of the circus and by her own role as the queen of the moon and stars. Before long, Nell's fame spreads across the world, and with it, a chance for Jasper Jupiter to grow his own name and fortune. But what happens when her fame begins to eclipse his own? When even Jasper's loyal brother Toby becomes captivated by Nell? No longer the quiet flower picker, Nell knows her own place in the world, and she will fight for it. A gorgeously wrought exploration of celebrity, power, and belonging, this is a historical novel unlike any other, with an unforgettable heroine at its heart. And I totally vouch for that, because, well, you have to go and see my Goodreads review of this book, because I just loved it. It was so unique. And
okay, I will break my Goodreads ban.
Yeah,
I've even blocked myself from the website. So when I try on it, it goes, "No way, Jose, you're not allowed."
Really? Very nice. Well, you can also see it. I wrote it on my website too, so I've got a.
Oh no, I cannot wait to go on it. It's only because sometimes I'm sure you find it as an author too. You can find yourself kind of a bit too drawn from.
Yes.
Reading reviews, and then when you're trying to write something new, it's almost like, no, gotta get.
Definitely, they can be very scary, but I do share those exact same reviews on my webpage. I have a page called Recommended Reads that has all my favorites, so it's on there.
Thank
too.
you.
You're very welcome. So now I'm going to disappear for a little bit. You ready to read?
I am.
All right, and everybody out there, make sure you got your tea and biscuits and you're ready to sit back and relax.
I've got my tea.
Perfect.
It's in a very, very large mug.
That's how it should be. All right, I'm going to disappear and it's over to you.
Okay. I'm afraid that I'm actually going to cheat with this reading because I'm not going to read from one chapter. I'm going to read two little bits from two different chapters. So because I think it's nice to get both perspectives of Nell and Jasper. So the first is from Nell's perspective. And this is after Jasper Jupiter has pitched his tent in her village, and she can hear the circus beginning, but she and her brother have decided not to attend it. So here we go. Nell is candying violets in her cottage. As she dips the flowers into the egg white and spins them in sugar, the cat watches her lazily, his ears pricked. All day, in fact, she has felt as though someone is watching her. In the walled gardens, her back aching as she picked hundreds of posies, she felt the burn of other labourers' eyes on her. When she walked home with Charlie, the hedgerow seemed lit with 1,000 eyes, pheasants and field mice, and a single spider in its web. Her fingers pause, glittering with sugar. She hears a faint noise like the air being forced from a pair of bellows. Oompa, oompa. What's that? Her father in the corner startles from his nap. Must be the circus trumpets, she says, allowing herself a glance through the window. She can see only the top of the tent, its blue and white stripes. She wishes Charlie were here with her, that he hadn't decided to work the fields this evening. Nell frowns. The village has been struck with circus fever, as Charlie calls it. Nobody can talk about anything but giants and dwarves, pig-headed boys and bear girls. Piggott, the overseer, even shows them the little carte de visite and porcelain figurines he bought of each performer. Strong man, butterfly man, lioness. $1 shilling each, he announced proudly, tapping his silver fob. But in the morning he found his hens missing from their hutch and his smile fell away. Someone had laundry pinched from their line. There were rumours of travellers robbed on the roads, of a girl attacked. When Nell went to bed, she heard shrieking, laughter, the scream of a fiddle. Her heart quickened with fear and excitement. Oompa, oompa, her fingers dipping, sifting, twirling, pressing the flowers into a cardboard box. The other villagers will be gazing at feet so strange she cannot imagine what they are. Magic, spells, tricks, as astonishing as miracles. She feels a twinge of panic, as if everything is changing while she stays still. And that is Nell. And then I thought I would read from Jasper's perspective because, yeah, it's quite different from Nell. And I mean, no spoilers because it was in the blurb that you read so brilliantly, almost sort of like you were the showman, sort of doing the patter. It was brilliant. And yeah, so this is from the bit after Jasper has decided that he is going to take Nell to be in his circus, and her father has sold her to him. And now that same wagon is ready and waiting behind him. The horses tussle and clink their reins. One of his grooms is sitting on the box seat and smoking the Indian herb. Jasper will ride on top with him. She's never danced before, her father says, because just a bit of context, Nell is dancing at sort of a little bonfire night that all of the villagers are having. Her father says, and he leans forwards, chin resting on his crook. She's always the first to leave, perhaps. I don't know if she waits for her brother then. He bows his head, coughs. She'll come soon, I'm sure of it. On she dances, faster and faster, a whirl of pale lashing hair, arms thrown out, feet kicked. Jasper cannot stop looking at her. She just knows how to move. He wonders if she realizes that everyone is watching her in admiration, that she is captivating, beautiful. It is little wonder that Toby guarded her so carefully. I present a leopard girl, a wonder, a marvel. He would have paid her father 20 times what he asked. Her face glows with the heat of it. And then, with a final flounce, she pulls away from the other dancers. Jasper's pulse jumps in his throat. Soon she will be his. Soon he will change her life and she will become extraordinary.
Oh boy, she has no idea what's coming her way. That's so great. And what everybody needs to know is those are sort of the two main characters. But part of the genius of this, I thought, was how you had, well, there's sort of three main characters, but there's also some very important side characters. And I learned a long time ago that you need a good villain in every story. But in yours, there isn't really a villain. Like you can go from dark to light and back and forth over and over again. And I think that's what really threw me. So how long have you been writing, for one thing? Let me start with that.
I've been writing for, I mean, it feels really pretentious to say that really for as long as I remember. I guess when I was a child, I loved writing stories, and I'm one of 4 children, and I was the eldest, and I always found my younger siblings just so loud and so messy, and I just kind of wanted to retreat into my own little world. So I used to sit at my desk for ages and just retreat into these worlds of make-believe. But then when I grew up and I became a teenager and I went to university, I never really grew out of that habit, really. I just really enjoyed sitting there at my desk and realizing that, I could travel to a different country, to a different century. And I had a lot of fun with it, because I know that with you came to writing a lot later. But it's something that I've always wanted to do. And yeah, when I went to university, I sort of took my writing very seriously. And I said to my mum that wanted my job to be an author. And she said, Elizabeth, you need to get a proper job, because it might be a really long time until you make any money through writing, and that moment may never come. And it was really sensible advice. But so I got my proper job, and I used to get up at 5 a.m. before work, and I'd sit in this sort of greasy cafe that opened at 6 a.m, and I would just write. And those 2.5 hours before work began were just the best time of day for me. And during that time, I wrote 2 novels which got turned down by publishers, but I kept going because not to write felt impossible.
Yeah, I know the feeling exactly. And when you say the greasy spoon place where you're writing,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about those places. I've got this, well, this isn't my normal office, but I've got a great office. I've got a great setup. And yet, sometimes the writing doesn't come. But you put me in a Starbucks for a couple of hours and I can't stop. I don't know what it is. The people around. I like silence, but again, you put me in the Starbucks and I'm good to go. So did you go to school in English or literature, or is that?
Yeah, I did English literature, which, being able to read, John Keats and Milton, and, particularly I loved I did a module on Victorian era, specifically Thomas Hardy. And, just being able to have that huge breadth of astonishing wordsmiths, and kind of fit into that, I found it really interesting. I even did my thesis on clutter in Victorian literature, which was kind of a bizarre thesis, but I put a lot more of that into the doll factor, I think, than Circus of Wonders. But I am very interested in kind of objects and their meaning and their glitter and their grime. And I think probably that comes through in Circus of Wonders as well.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I was saying the way you draw these things, and I shouldn't say draw, the way you paint them and create them is just so I could feel it. When Nell is first sold at the circus, she is dragged there against her wishes. Her father sells her there. They throw her in this wagon, and I could feel it. She's scraping, trying to get out of there, and she's screaming, and it was so visceral. The book is so macabre, I guess, the Victorian, dark Victorian thing, which I don't read a lot of, but this one just, okay, I could just go on and on. I'm gonna have to stop that. So with all the reading you did, was it always historical fiction for you? Is that where you were always drawn?
It wasn't actually. I should have said that after my years of failure sitting in the greasy spoon cafe, I decided that after that second rejection that I should actually go to do a creative writing master's. I know that I think they're much bigger over where you are than they are here even. And that was when I decided, sorry, I've completely lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
I get that. With historical fiction, was that your first?
Oh, yes, historical fiction, yeah. And during that year, I decided that I wanted to kind of write a series of short stories and see if one of them really gripped me and jumped out at me and was like, I am a novel, please write me. And during that year, I actually wrote mainly contemporary. And there was just something which wasn't quite working, I think, because I find contemporary more difficult because the things which I want to write about, if I write about them in a contemporary setting, it's almost too on the nose. Like if I want to write about, fame or fake news, then do you write about Donald Trump? And do I want to write about Donald Trump? And things like that. Whereas, I could look at kind of an egotist, but, Jasper Jupiter, head of a troop. I could look at fake news and how, the Crimean War was where all of that sort of reporting of fake news was really, really sort of took off because of the, all of the technology that's happening there. I could look at, what it's like to be a woman in a patriarchal society, but in a very, very deeply patriarchal society. And, all of the things which preoccupy me now, I could really look at through a slant. And I think that was why I wanted to write about, why I wanted to write historical fiction. And also I just love the world building.
Yes.
I love writing about also a world without technology and a world kind of obsessed with things and ambition and advance. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to mention the fake news because for readers who haven't read this, his Jasper's brother Toby is a photographer, and he goes to they are both in the Crimean War, and Toby is supposed to photograph everything that's going on, but of course they don't want him to tell it as it is, right? So the fake news was, I was going to ask you about that, because that one of the things I love about what we do is we can comment on what's happening now through our historical versions of it. I love doing that. My last one, I did that Letters Across the Sea. I talked about how 3 different newspapers handled the same thing back in 1933, who told the truth of what. So I saw that right off the bat. And Toby's my favorite character. Everyone's going to see him, and he broke my heart. One of the things I did love is the way you finished the book. I write all my books. I guarantee everyone that it will either be a happy ending or at least a hopeful ending. And so when I got to yours and I could see everything was just working, it's like a circus train just barreling into disaster. And I thought, oh no, I'm not going to be able to handle the ending to this. But you did it so beautifully, and I'm not going to give anything away. But I did not cry. I was very happy with how you did it. And I'm not going to say it was happy or hopeful or sad or anything, but it was so tastefully done. So when you were writing, are you a pantser or a plotter?
Oh, I am like a plotter unlike any other. I think my friends will not let me show them my Excel spreadsheet, because I used to work as a management consultant. That was my proper job, and I think I kind of love Excel. Maybe I should have stayed with as a management consultant all along. That was actually my calling. But no, I have this absolutely frightening spreadsheet, which so before I begin, I kind of map out the entire novel, chapter by chapter, and kind of even how many words I estimate each chapter will have in it, who will be in it, that sort of thing. And I often don't stick with it. I kind of move things around, but the way I look at it, my really naff analogy is that if I'm getting in the car and driving somewhere, then I need to know where I'm going. And it might be that, there's some diversion on the way or something, that there's a quicker route or something like that, or some variation, but I still need to know kind of that I am going to get to the end and how I'm going to get there. And I do not know how pantsers do it. I really don't. How you can keep so much in your head and, write something meticulous and planned and coherent. Whereas, without my Excel, I think I would just waffle.
Okay, so Excel has to be my next direction, because I am a failed plotter. I want to plot so badly, and my editor.
No, but everyone's different. And,
no. It would be easier if I at least knew the character. I never know what's going to happen. I'm pretty sure my editor would be very happy if I would follow your lead just a little bit, just a little bit written down. But so if you know everything ahead of time, you knew all your characters and you knew how it all.
Well, no, I mean, when I first, this is what I mean about how it changes so much. So when I began Circus of Wonders, I didn't even have Jasper and Toby's perspectives. So I got to 30,000 words in, and it was solely from Nell's perspective. And I just felt that something was missing, because I did, even though you said I don't have a villain, I suppose Jasper is he's my sort of villain. Maybe he's even his own villain. He's his own worst enemy. He's self-destructive in his quest for power and for fame.
Yes, but at the same time, he's kind of a hero to these people that he has brought along. So
he thinks he's a hero to those people, and which again, I wanted to play with that perspective thing, which is why I love having 3 perspectives. So to what is he to all of these characters who are kind of seeing each other slightly differently through different lenses, which I think is really fun with the circus, because so much of the circus is about illusion and truth. Yes. And yet there's that kind of slipperiness of who is Jasper, what are his motives, and everyone sees him slightly differently, and you can never quite pin him down. So in Nell's perspective, I just felt that also kind of the whole world of the circus, I wanted to explore so much of it, and I felt that one voice was just quite constraining to me. I wanted to look at kind of the psychology of the person, the ringmaster who would set it up, and his motivations. I wanted to look at sort of someone beneath him, and especially his brother, where they should be equals, but they're not. And again, that power, and to explore power, I think looking at three different people and their kind of ideas of power and how it affects them is, it works much better, I think.
Yes, definitely. I'm so glad you chose to do it that way, because you really got inside them. And I still see Jasper as like a anti-villain, he really didn't mean to be bad. He's just, Jasper's the one that runs the circus. And so he takes in these acts who some of them feel in the rest of the world, they look down on them. And Jasper's given them this opportunity. So he's a hero to some of them. And then it goes a little bit wild after a while. But I loved it. I loved everything about it. And I'm so glad I got a chance to read it and to speak with you about it, because you are delightful to chat with. And do you have another book on the way, do you think?
I'm writing my third novel. Now, I can't believe I can even say I'm writing my third novel. It feels, sometimes I can't believe that I've got already 2 published. But it's a different beast writing my third, because I've, as we talked about earlier, I've got baby, which is, I just put him to bed and he hasn't woken up. So well done, Arthur, enabling me to do my job and have interesting conversations with, other authors. But so it's so different writing with a baby, because when I wrote Circus of Wonders and The Doll Factory, I was totally immersed and obsessed with them when I was writing the books. But now kind of hopping between book and baby, it's a challenge, right? But
yes,
I think maybe I was warned about this and should know about this, but I'm confident that my Excel and I will get through it, and I'll find my way.
That's good you got the Excel to lean on, because I know how hard it was. What I was going to say, when you got your baby, Arthur's put to bed, I have, my 2 daughters have moved in. They're all grown up, but they've moved in here with their cats, and they are constantly fighting. So it could have been very entertaining.
The cats are your daughters?
No, the daughters get along great, but the cats are not.
Okay, it's the cats who are fine.
So I closed the door just in time, because they get into a lot of trouble. It would have been very noisy, and my babies would have been worse than yours for sure. So, but I really enjoyed this today. Oh, well, so you didn't get to finish telling me about your next book.
Oh, so my next book, I can't keep away from the Victorian era. So my next book is actually about the kind of the creation and construction of a cemetery in Victorian London, because it was in the 1830s. There was this huge growth of beautiful cemeteries on the outskirts of London, where they became these money-making enterprises, really, rather than anything for the public health, although that was also part of it. So I just thought that kind of the construction of that, alongside the kind of degeneration of a relationship, would be quite interesting. So again, there's a character like Nell at its heart, and I'm really enjoying researching it and tentatively kind of working my way through the first chapters at the moment.
That's such an exciting stage. Good for you. I can't wait. That will be next on my list. Sign me up.
Oh, okay, perfect. You might have to wait a couple of years.
I get that. Thank you again so much for being here and for chatting with us and for introducing us to these characters. I can't wait for everyone to read it. Circus of Wonders is out today, February 15, and everyone should go and get their copies right now. It's way up there on my list, everybody. So thank you again, Elizabeth. And
no, not at all. And thank you for having me, and thank you for tuning in.
My pleasure. Thank you again. Bye-bye.